Effects of pollutants. What is pollution? Pollution, we probably hear of this term every other day at school, college, and offices. We also come across the term in newspapers, online journals, and media in general. So, what is it and why it is deemed harmful? Pollution occurs when pollutants contaminate the natural surroundings, bringing about changes that affect our normal lifestyles adversely. Pollutants are the key elements or components of pollution, which are generally waste materials of different forms. Pollution disturbs our ecosystem and the balance in the environment. With the modernization and development in our lives. Pollution has reached its peak, giving rise to global warming and human illness. Different forms of pollution. Pollution occurs in different forms: air, water, soil, radioactive, noise, heat, thermal, and light. Every form of pollution has two sources of occurrence: the point and the non-point sources. The point sources are easy to identify, monitor, and control, whereas the non-point sources are hard to control. Types and effects of pollutants. Air pollution. The major source of air pollution results from the burning of fossil fuels, which causes an excess of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. Vehicles commonly cause this kind of pollution, as does the burning of local coal, fossil fuels being burned and create a substance commonly referred to as smog, which is a dense layer of carbon monoxide based cloud matter. Air pollution is contributing factor of asthma, lung cancer, chronic bronchitis, as well as many other lung-based ailments. The burning of a large amount of fossil fuels can also result in the mixture of sulfuric acid and nitrogen, which can combine to form acid rain. Water pollution. Water pollution is primarily caused by watery runoff from agricultural sites, industrial sites, and urban sites. Runoff consists of harmful, contaminated, or unnatural chemicals or substances that interfere with the water source to infect and ultimately destroy the water therein. Agricultural runoff includes toxins found in pesticides and herbicides. Urban runoff contains large amount of organic waste, and industrial runoff contains high amounts of chemical toxins and residues. Any of these pollutants entering a water source can cause multiple health issues, the spreading of dangerous disease, and potentially premature death of human and other animals. Soil pollution. Soil can become polluted as a result of improper disposal of chemical materials or toxins. This often occurs near large agricultural sites where excess herbicides or pesticides are used on crops. Sites that become polluted often become barren wastelands with toxic soil. These sites are often abandoned and cannot be used, resulting in a large stretch of land going to waste. Other pollutions. Other kind of pollution is known as light pollution. This is a result of urban or highly lights. This kind of pollution can cause problems in the migration patterns of birds, as well as disrupting the cycles of nocturnal animals. It also makes the stars and other celestial phenomena hard to see. Sound pollution is another type of lesser known pollution caused by an excess of human created sounds that are very loud and disruptive in nature. This type of pollution can impact the movement patterns of sea mammals as well as the nesting ability of some birds. Radioactive pollution is highly dangerous when it occurs. It can occur due to nuclear plant malfunctions, improper nuclear waste disposal, accidents, and etc. It causes cancer, infertility, blindness, defects at the time of birth. It can sterilize soil and affect air in, and water. Thermal and heat pollution is due to the excess heat in the environment creating unwanted changes over long time periods. Due to the huge number of industrial plants, deforestation, urban sprawl, and air pollution, it increases the Earth's temperature, causing drastic climatic changes and extinction of wildlife. Thermal pollution can result in an increase in temperature and can prove to be disastrous for humans and wildlife. The increase in temperature can make wildlife populations vulnerable and they may never be able to recover. Light pollution occurs due to prominent excess illumination of an area. It is largely visible in big cities, on advertising boards and billboards, in sports or entertainment events at the night. In residential areas, the lives of the inhabitants are greatly affected by this. It also affects astronomical observations and activities by making the stars almost invisible. The, the terrible 10 air pollution's top 10 health risks. First, premature death. Science shows that both short term and long term exposure to unhealthy air can shorten your life and lead to premature death. Medical experts have known about this risk for decades. Asthma attacks. Breathing ozone and particle pollution can lead to increased asthma attacks, which can result in visits to the emergency room and hospital admissions, not to mention missed work and school. Cardiovascular disease. Air pollution can increase the risk of both heart and stroke. Lung cancer. In 2013, the WHO or World Health Organization determined the particle pollution can cause lung cancer, which is the leading cause of cancer related death in the US. Developmental damage. Exposure exposure to air pollution can show and stunt lung development in growing children, harmful to their health now and reducing their lung function as adults. Susceptibility to infections. Air pollution increases the risk of lung infections, especially in children. Worsen COPD symptoms. Exposure to air pollution can make it even harder for people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or we call COPD. To breathe, severe symptoms can lead to hospitalization and even death. Lung tissue swelling and irritation. Even people with healthy lungs are susceptible to irritation and swelling. For those living with chronic lung disease, such as asthma and COPD, these can affect be especially harmful. Low infant birth weight. Some studies show exposure to air pollution may increase the risk of low infant birth weight and infant mortality. Wheezing, coughing, and shortness of breath, like many of the other conditions in this list. These can be caused by both long term exposure and short term exposure to highest levels of air pollutants. That would be all. Thank you.